Hey guys, you're listening to an episode of We're All Fucked, a podcast all about sex, dating, non-dating, and relationships with the hopes of improving sexual confidence and skills. I'm your horny host, Sasha Fierce, and with me today again is Mo. Thanks for joining us again, Mo.
I'm here.
So happy you're here. So real quick, I just want to check in. Were you stressed at all this week?
Yes.
Did you get dick this week?
Yeah.
And did it help the stress?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Because that is what I'm really trying to get my point across, is that we need that. We really do need that. Absolutely. And did you meet the dick online?
Yes, I did.
How long ago was that?
Beginning of October.
Okay. So not that long ago, kind of when COVID was a little better, right? Okay,
yes.
Cool. Yeah, so that's leading into our topic of today, which is topic number 2. Holy shit. It is focusing on dating in 2020 and how many people were actually trying to get fucked versus people who just wanted everything kind of up until that point, and then they didn't want to meet, and then they would ghost, right? So I think most people, I imagine, I really hope, let's hope that that's what was going on. But yeah, so this is the second episode. The first episode was pretty good. It was a little too long and a little disorganized. So I'm so glad you guys are back listening to us again. So thanks for joining. I do want to get into my first example, which is coming from Nicole P. of New Jersey. And honestly, she's a fire sign just like me. And she's one of those people that's very outgoing and doesn't think that online dating is for her and never has. And I'm the same way. I've never really done online dating. I didn't think it was for me. I could go to a bar by myself, meet friends, meet a guy, and be fine. And not everybody is like that. So online dating's been a thing for as long as, the internet's been kind of a thing. And so I know that especially with millennials and other people having too much work or activities and they're not able to do traditional dating. Yes. Traditional dating is just getting weaned out completely. Yes, and online dating seems to be, if you don't meet somebody through a friend, you meet them through online dating. It's or work or something, right? It's like there's not that many places you can really find these people. Especially now. So obviously when COVID started and everybody got into this quarantine and nobody can go anywhere and everybody was sad and everyone was depressed and most of us were unemployed, not most of us, but a lot of people were unemployed and bored and they needed something to make themselves feel good. Online dating, online companionship, online friendship is something that increased so much. So what I found out that I thought was interesting, how many online dating platforms have you used, apps?
Probably around 4 or 5.
And which ones were those? Do you remember?
Plenty of Fish, Bumble, Tinder. And the other one, I think it was Match.
Match.com, nice. Which I think was like the first one. There was like eHarmony and Match.
Yeah.
Right? And then they were like, we want a relationship.
This is the place. Come.
A lot of like 40 and 50-year-olds that I knew at that time that were like either, they had never been married or they were like divorced and they were trying to, like a lot of like those types of people were like really serious. And that was exactly. And then we came out with the apps that are just meant for fucking, like Grindr and, Tinder and, Plenty of Fish and Bumble and stuff. So what I ended up finding out on the internet, which is always interesting when it comes to businesses, is there's a company called Match Group. And Match Group is actually responsible for 45 different dating brands, of which are Tinder, Match.com, Plenty of Fish, and I think OkCupid and Hinge. Yeah. So they actually take over 60%. This one company is responsible for 60% of online dating apps and brands, which is insanity to me. Now they saw a 15% increase overall, right, in online dating since April, which is really when you could start the stats for this. So at that point it was that. And then in the beginning of COVID, I've been told that it kind of was a lot of people trying to like get out there and date. And then when things got really, really bad, a lot of people were like, maybe I should chill. Maybe I shouldn't go anywhere. And then it got a little better. And like you said, you met somebody in the beginning of October, around September, October. I think it was getting a little more steady. People were a little bit more comfortable going out. And then it got worse now. And now I don't know. But so I do have a couple of examples and stories that I wanted to talk about today. So the first one is coming from Nicole. And I was getting into the fact that, yeah, she's outgoing like me. She doesn't really like the online dating, but she did it. And what she explained, and I'll read it from her, basically she says, I mean, I thrive in person because of how outgoing I am, and I love meeting new people, but COVID really killed the whole date life for me. Now, Nicole is in college, and she actually lives in off-campus housing. So in that type of life, I mean, you're in college, you're having fun, you're partying, and then you have the ability to have your own house. You're not at the dorms. You have all this freedom. You have roommates. You could do whatever. COVID happens, and it's like crap. A lot of people went home from college. A lot of people stayed, because they had a job and they had this house and work. And so she just was like, shit, like, I guess I'm gonna have to just like go online. And so she had to do that. And so she, she said it was like, it's the whole situation's terrible for her. She'll talk to somebody for a day and then she'll never talk to them again. And, that type of thing where it's just like, oh, this is kind of like fun, but boring. And it's like you're just going through all these different types of pen pals and waiting to find somebody that you really want to talk to. So in her case, she actually did meet up with somebody once. And it was funny. She was like, yeah, he came over at like 2 a.m. and fucked my brains out and left. And then, never talked. And I'm just like,
fucking hours.
Okay, well then, I guess then that's okay for you to do if that's just a one-off. But it was interesting that she just was like, I've had enough, right? It just gets to a point where fuck the risk. What's it gonna do? Kill me, right? It's just like, fuck the risk. I'm so desperate for sex right now because it's been months. I'm not an online dating person. I've never done this before. I'm used to just going out and getting what I want. And now I can't. And here I am. And we need to move forward with this. So I thought that was a really interesting story from her. And then I mean, she's not doing it anymore, I don't think. But what's your idea on like that? Like just not, did you ever feel that way, or did you always feel like online dating was kind of like your type of thing?
So for me, meeting people before COVID, I would go out to a bar and everything and no one would approach me, and that was pure intimidation. That's what I was told. I look very timid. You look like a bitch, or my resting bitch face is mean.
The worst.
So it is.
I hate when people just assume that that's what that is. You're chilling. Like,
yeah,
you're just chilling. Like, leave you alone.
Are you okay? I'm like, yes, I'm perfectly fine.
Smile, beautiful. Like, why don't you smile?
Fuck your smile.
Yes.
I'm perfectly fine.
Gentlemen, women, nobody should ever say that to you. So, yes. But yeah, like unapproachable, but not in a negative way, just in an intimidating way.
Exactly. So before was never approached. So interacting face to face wasn't my thing. So it was online dating. And also the type of person that I was interested in wasn't really in my area. I'm into interracial dating, not really going to be around where I used to live. So I turned to online dating, and that's where I found most of my relationships online dating.
Interesting. Which you've done a few. So tell me, I guess in brief, like a summary of each one that you've experienced, which ones you like better for whatever reason, which ones you don't like, where you've had most success.
So I would say, surprisingly, I met 2 or 3 good people from Tinder that turned into relationships. I'm talking to someone now from Bumble, which I like Bumble probably the most because the woman makes the first move. I don't have to wait for a guy to contact me. I contact them if I want to. If I don't, fuck it. I like that aspect.
Do you feel like that's your personality in general? Like before you would approach somebody first, like at a bar?
Yeah, I would.
I'm the same way.
I'm not afraid of a refusal. Okay, I'm not interested. Okay, on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never been afraid of that at all.
I think for me, like, I'm really aggressive and I'm also intimidating. And I'm also, I mean, I don't look like a bitch. I'm very vocal. So like people hear what comes out of my mouth. I'm usually nice, but I'm also like, I don't give a fuck. So that can come across as, holy shit, she's awesome. But I don't know if I can handle that in bed.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna handle this,
That might be
because
a lot.
I'm just like, once I get somebody who can handle me, who can kind of tame me, it's like, yeah, that's different. But most of the time, if somebody sees my outgoing personality at a bar being loud and rambunctious before I even start drinking, then they're gonna be like, holy fucking shit. So yeah, I'm used to approaching people. I'm used to kind of being that aggressive person. I never thought that online dating would be for me. Bumble would probably be, though, for myself, a good online dating, because then I could just say, hey, I want you.
Exactly.
I've always been that way. Like my high school sweetheart, I remember there was a whole group of people I met at a carnival, and he was standing in the back, and I was like, hey you, what's your deal? How you doing? Everyone, like opening the ocean and fucking see the cutie in the back, you know, because he was the most timid. He was the least in my face. Like there were a couple people that were trying to talk, and he just was kind of like, I'm not down for that. They're just off on it. They're minding their business.
Exactly. And that's the ones that I mostly go towards, the one that's not in the shits. I'm with the one that's over there on the side. We can have a conversation and have a good time.
Exactly. And so you can like locate, I guess, these types of people based on their bios, or like, how do you kind of like, is it bios with everything? Because I know with Tinder, they have like that bio that everyone tries to catch somebody. They say something witty. On Bumble, do you just like go through people? Like, does it just say like their first name and their age and like where they're from?
So I'll say their name. They'll say their age. For some reason, I think there's some like algorithm issue where the ages get fucked up. So they'll say they're 37, but then they'll say, no, I'm actually 42. Yeah. So that's in the bio, whatever. Yeah. They'll say, you know, maybe their occupation, maybe what school they went to.
It's up to them.
Also, and they say their location, where they are.
Oh, so it doesn't always say their location.
No.
On okay, nice. No. So which one do you like the most?
Bumble.
Because you get to choose.
Yes.
Do you agree that Tinder is the biggest one where people just want to fuck? Or do you think it's just all over the place?
Tinder is the most popular.
It's the most popular in general, right?
Yes, it's well known. Yeah. Everyone knows Tinder as being the place to go to get fucked.
Got it. Exactly. And that's my, not argument, but that's like my point to bring up, is that in my experience, or lack thereof, because I mean, I opened a Tinder for 3 weeks just to see what it was kind of like and what all the hype was about, and to see if anything would kind of come about it when I became single. And I'm bisexual, and so I just kind of want to just, you know, look at females, look at, you know, couples or something, like, you know, try to kind of figure out what's out there. And what I noticed on Tinder was like these ridiculous bios, and like you said, people will say the information would be wrong, or they would say, hey, I'm not in Canada anymore, or I'm in this, I'm on vacation, and then, you know, and I'm just like, wow, this is really a lot. And then the swiping, and then the super likes. So some like young ass kid found me because he super liked me, and I was like, oh my god, I don't want this. Like, why is a 21-year-old hitting me up and just like asking me to hang out tonight? Like that, this is too much. And so I just that was not even for me as an experiment. Like I was never going to meet up with anybody, but as an experiment, I just was like, yeah, no, this is really terrible, especially for me. But before COVID, I remember people would say, I'm gonna go have my Tinder fuck. Oh, what do you do? Are you free tonight? Oh no, I have a Tinder fuck date. Oh, like they would call it that. Like they would say, they wouldn't say like I have a Tinder date or I have a date. Somebody I met on Tinder, they'd be like, oh, it's just a Tinder fuck. Oh, I'm going out with this kid, Matt. Oh no, don't worry about it. It's nothing serious. It's just a Tinder fuck. So I'm like, you never heard that phrase? I guess it's just maybe like certain people will say that.
People that I know aren't meeting people on Tinder. They're actually going out and about because of where they live. They can find what they're looking for. As I said,
in like communities, like bars and stuff like that.
I'm into interracial dating. My friends are not. So yeah.
So the people that you go out and see in these areas, like before COVID, right? And you would go out and you would hang out and everything, and the people would just not be your type. Exactly. So that's a good point too, is not, again, like we talked about the first episode, dating with or without a purpose. Regardless, if you have a type, you are like allowed to have that type. There's nothing wrong with saying that this is my type. I know my type is Eastern European male, you know, that's like what I've gone through in my life. Like I'm like, hey, I think that this seems to be the personality that matches mine the most, right? Because I'm Ashkenazi, and so I have a lot going on with myself. But being with Hispanic men, being with Black men, yeah, I have, and they're fine. Like I've had very wonderful relationships with all types of people, but I have my type too. So, and you have yours. So it's interesting if you're looking for something like that, and you're like, hey, within a 20-minute radius, I probably, you know, met everybody that I know if I grew up here, right? Exactly. But if I expand that to something a little farther, where I'm not going to walk into a bar and expect to meet people there by myself, so let me go find them through this. And that's really interesting. Wow, good point. Okay, cool. Do you want to say anything else about that for right now, your experience? So you like Bumble more and Tinder's more popular?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about, this is actually a mention from Terrell, and he actually said that, yes, during the pandemic, he did online dating. Now, he said in the very beginning, he was doing it, he was always doing it, but in the very beginning, he was still doing it because it was when people didn't take it seriously. So it wasn't like the quarantine started and then he started online dating. It was like he just was continuing to online date until people started saying, you know what, this COVID thing is kind of serious. This shit's kind of getting real. And I think like April and May, people were like, and then in June, it was like, oh, well, maybe we should fucking keep our dick and pussies inside. And maybe we should just play with ourselves and think mentally of that person while you do it. But what was interesting that he said was, in the beginning, I was trying, and then it got bad, and then I kind of slowed down. But through all of it, he just has kind of been on the app, just playing around with it. A good majority of the women that have responded to him, guess what profession they're in?
Medical.
Why did you just know that?
Because they're in medicine. So from my experience, because I'm in medical.
But mention that you're not actually like in a hospital with patients with COVID.
No, I used to be in the ER.
In case you want to date Mo, she's not exposed to these sick people.
No. Not currently. But no, I would say medicine because they're drained. They need that outlet, and they're wanting to do what we're doing as well, get fucked. But the thing is, their schedules permits. And also, seeing as though that they're in the field, finding someone that's not at work is difficult. Let me clarify. Finding someone that is at work that is not directly under you or above you is the problem. So I figured it was going to be medicine because there's stress. And as I said, sex is a good stress reliever.
It is the best stress reliever. People think chocolate, but there's people allergic to chocolate. There's nobody allergic to sex, no matter what anybody tells you, ladies and gentlemen. You can do drugs, you can drink, you can eat, but there's nothing like sex. Like there's nothing that, and I mean, like there's like 40 different health benefits to just having sex. You can have an orgasm and clear a cold in 2 days. I mean, if you do it the right way. So there's just like massive information. Guys, Google it. There's massive information out there as to what orgasms and sex can just do for your body and your heart and your libido, of course, and like all these wonderful things. A heart is definitely a big part of it. But yeah, for sure. Like I cannot be too tired to have sex. I mean, maybe, but I always say to myself, I try to at least orgasm daily, no matter how tired I am. I miss some days every now and then, and I feel it, I feel it when I miss it. It's like a multivitamin. You just feel off.
Like if I'm tired and I'm like, I need to get off, I will masturbate and just go to sleep. It just does it for me.
It's just a better sleep.
That's a good sleep, man. Because sometimes it's like the sleep when it's raining outside.
Oh,
it's the best sleep ever.
I love thunderstorms. Oh my God. I love playing thunderstorm thunderstorm playlists on my Spotify, and I fall asleep. Ooh, I should use that background when I masturbate.
It will take you
honey,
to new heights.
What am I doing with my life?
Stick with me, kid. Woo! I'll show you some things.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
My God. That's exactly what it's like.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it is. Do as you hear. But yeah, stressful professions like being a nurse, being a teacher. Gift them with dick, gift them with pussy, gift them with wine. I don't care.
It's greatly appreciated.
But it is greatly appreciated. And it sucks because they don't have time. I mean, I guess like I've never seen Grey's Anatomy, but I imagine on Grey's Anatomy, everybody's just fucking each other. Have you seen that? Are they just doing it? Because I'm just like, right? I'm just like, wait, that's what I mean.
In the janitor's
I
closet.
imagine,
I've seen this shit.
How are you at work? 37, 49, 58 hours, right? Like 2, 3, 4 shifts in a row. Some of these people, God bless them. And how can you not just like get a quickie any fucking corner?
I've seen them do it in cars, Janitors.
Yeah, they have to. They have to have quickies every now and then. Can you imagine how much better they'd be at their jobs if they just have quickies like 3-4 times a day?
You can tell.
Because all of a sudden their hair is messy.
No,
and then it's
whole
better.
demeanor, their approach, their tone, everything changes, and you're just like,
okay, I see.
Someone's relaxed.
Someone had I guess you didn't get the grilled cheese today for lunch.
Someone had a really good 30-minute sesh. There you go.
30 minutes? They don't got time for 30 minutes.
Oh, they got time.
You think? They'll make time?
I've seen these things. I'm telling you. They make time.
Got Mrs. Guggenheim over here choking, and they're like, just finish. It's not even worth it. Like, yeah, and he's not even in medical. He's not even in healthcare, this guy who was like, but they're just like firing off. Like they're just trying to find. They're just all over the place. So yeah. And he also said to me, which is funny, he said, well, I'm a voyeur. I was just trying to get videos of them fucking anyway. He was basically like, I wasn't really trying to fuck them. I was just trying to get real close to them so that they can send me stuff that I can use.
He needs some material.
He needs the material.
Okay.
So he was like, you know what? It wasn't even that big of a deal, but it was interesting that he's on these online dating apps. He's really not trying, maybe, he's really not trying to just date people. He's really trying to just meet some freaks that can shoot him over some videos and just have him pleasure himself to that.
I've witnessed men like that, and you can spot, I've learned that you can tell, like, if they're automatically like, give me a video, give me a picture, and you're not wanting to meet. You're wanting material to get off on.
Now, if they initially start that with you, like, how would you respond to that?
So, what it starts off is, hi, how you doing?
Yeah,
how's
of course.
Your day? How's your weekend? Whatever. Oh,
send nudes.
Look beautiful.
Send tits.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any more pictures?
Send vids.
And then
one with your pussy.
The type of person I am. I was like,
close up
first. What the fuck? I want to see if you have anything worth me getting hot over. Most of them don't.
Most of them try. They try their best. They really do. It doesn't hurt to ask. The worst you can say is no. And the ultimate worst that can happen is something inappropriate and you get caught.
If you were upfront and say, look, I'm not even interested in meeting. I just need some fucking material.
But guess what?
Would
you give that?
No.
Why? You don't give material?
It depends. It depends on how hot the person is.
You're
if you're going to send me like a really, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, oh, you can, okay, you worth it. Here's a tip. Like,
you don't get to know them a little bit and have them tell you a secret first.
What's your secrets? I have one too.
My secret is I don't send nudes unless you're hot. Holy shit.
What if you're ugly? How? Sorry, Lori.
Monique is not peeing. She's just pouring water. It's okay. I just want to. No. You can pour water all you want. Just don't make any other funky noises. Yeah. But that's wild. That's super, super wild. So yeah, so that was Terrell. Thanks, Terrell, so much for that story. You're the best. So I'm going to get on to topic 3, which is really just kind of like a plethora of other things that I've heard people tell me, and we can talk a little bit more about, branch off. Mm-hmm. One of them was a friend of mine who is on Grindr, or has been on Grindr, and he told me, and now this is an individual who is actually very like paranoid, very careful.
Wait, before you get into it, what is Grindr? Is that
Grindr is generally for, I think, homosexual males.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. I just thought everyone's fucking grinding. Like, it's like...
You're like, wait. Are you just talking about grinding?
Gay, straight.
Are you talking about dancing? Are you... Yes. Oh my God, when I was in middle school, I used to be so good at grinding. Are you surprised?
No,
I would throw... What do you mean you were 2? You were just... grinding in middle school. We would just rub our asses on the little boys' pee-pees, and they would try not to get a boner. I was so good at that. The goal was just to get them hard, and then I would walk away and get a soda.
Like, oh my God, bye.
It was like middle school firehouse dances, and my dad would have to drop me off, and I'd have to show my school ID and pay $10 for like a hot dog and a soda later. And then they just turn the lights down and play some like fucking Eminem, or like who was big back then, Britney Spears, and like the Percolator.
That's what you guys were grinding to?
And no, I forget what we were really grinding to. What was big in like 2000, 2001? So Black Eyed Peas, Destiny's Child. No, yeah, for sure.
our parties had like reggae music, so you were really fucking grinding to, and the teachers would be like, whoa, hold up.
No, but are you talking about school, or are you talking about like, okay, so this was not school, this was a firehouse dance. So this was a community dance. It wasn't just at my school, because I went to a private school, so my school was different. But like in my town where I'm from, a firehouse, they had like 2 or 3 firehouse stations, and they would have those event halls. You know how like they would have like those like you know how you can have like a graduation party or something like that and like rent like this area like where they would have events. And so they would have firehouse dances. Is this not a thing everywhere? Oh my God, please DM me on my Instagram if you've been to a firehouse dance, because we would have like everybody from that town. So it would be like multiple schools. And if you lived in that town, you can go to one dance and meet all these people from other schools, other middle schools in the area. And so you'd pay like $5 or $10 at the door, and they would have to see that your parent dropped you off, and you'd have to show ID. And then they'd let you go in and be a thought at 12 years old in the fucking darkness with the lasers, and they had glow sticks.
You're doing this in school with people I see on a day-to-day.
But we didn't have like, I mean, I grew up in like the area that I grew up was like Irish, Italian, Polish.
Okay.
You know, there were Black people, there were all types of people, Asian, whatever, but like predominantly it was like white suburban, you know, English, you know, Irish, like Italian, like, you know, types of people. I'm not saying that it was just whitewash, but I'm just saying that the choice of music that they had was not so much hip hop and reggae. It was, but it was like they were very careful with
one. That's it.
But it was good music enough where I can grind. Like I feel like I could have found any song and grinded to it. But I just was like, you know, I was a dancer. I grew up as a dancer. I just wanted to show off. First of all, I had a booty back then, and I wanted to show off my dancing skills, and I wanted to show all the little boys, again, intimidation, what they can't handle. I'm like, look, let me put you against a wall. You will go home, and you know, this is so funny, and then I'm gonna move on because this is extra.
Sorry.
I wore white pants one time. Girl, let me tell you, my mother was like, your entire ass is blue. What?
Dead giveaway.
Dead motherfucking giveaway. Grinding up on all these boys with dye in their denim jeans to make them look super dark. Fucked up my whole Guess jeans. Sasha, Stacy, these were $47 jeans. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm never gonna be able to get this out.
Oh,
how did you? What did you sit on? Not dick, Dad. Not dick, Mom. Not dick.
Oh. All right,
now 12-year-olds are out here doing a lot more than just grinding up on some dirty jeans.
Hello.
But anyway, I digress. So at the firehouse station, we were grinding. Let's talk about Grindr. I have ADD like a motherfucker right now.
Sorry. I just took it to a whole nother.
That's okay. Why are you asking questions? That's how I get off track. I'm just kidding. No, valid questions to have. So if you haven't heard of, let me actually like maybe Google it so I like say it correctly. But yeah, so I think Grindr is like mainly for homosexual males. Okay. And so yeah, so it's just that understanding. Which is why like I was like, oh, with Bumble, it's like interesting to ask like lesbians how that works on Bumble, because it's like I guess it's just a free for all. It's kind of like Tinder. Yeah. Okay. But Grindr app, I should have done this research before. Yeah, it's just a gay chat. It's just for gay, bi, trans, and queer people. So everybody. Okay. But I think mostly men use it. Like gay men, I think mostly use it because that's usually where I hear that from. Mm-hmm. But everybody can, so I'm sure everybody does. So he met somebody on Grindr, and basically he did one of these things, which we all do even pre-COVID, where you hook up with somebody and there's that kissing, right? It's that, okay, we can have sex as a random person, but then there's kissing. Mm-hmm. Kissing can be more intimate than sex in some cases. Do you agree?
I agree.
And with that, he had mentioned that he met up with him, even though it was COVID and even though he was cautious, still met up with the guy, started to get into it, didn't want to kiss him, but as he was fucking him, was like, why am I being weird about a kiss? Because it's the mouth, and it's like, what are you going to keep your mask on, but put your raw dick in my ass, right? And
wait. Yeah. You had the mask on?
I don't think so. I'm just making a joke. I should have clarified. But it's almost as if like, oh, you have a mask on while you're trying to hook up with somebody, but it's like, what purpose does it fit if you're just going to exchange bodily fluids anyway? So pre-COVID, and I use this argument all the time. It's like, okay, prostitutes, right? They have condoms. You can do with a condom, without a condom, and without a condom, it's more money or whatever. And I know that they'll like use condoms to like even give head. So it's like, I don't use condoms to give head. So it's like back years ago when I learned this, I was like, oh my God, you're right. Where, you know, whoever told me, I was like, oh my God, you're right. It's like, you can have protected sex with a condom, but then give somebody oral sex without a condom. It defeats the purpose, kind of, unless you know, certain things. So he was like, why am I freaking out about kissing him if we're having sex? And then it kind of, in that moment, you just kind of forget all about all of that stuff, because you can be overly cautious but still want to get fucked and just desperate to get fucked, and you're like my friend Nicole, oh my God, let me just go out and just get some random dick one night just to get myself just to get myself held over. And so for the next time, but it's, you know, it's that in that moment, it's like, okay, I really hope and pray, right? It's like, oh, like that one time that somebody comes inside or whatever, and you're like, oh, I really, not me, I've been on birth control my whole life, but it's just like, oh, like that one time, it's like, it's risky, but it was just that one time. You have a 50-50 chance of getting whatever you don't want to get, but you're still willing to risk it for the fun and the excitement. And in the heat of the moment, it's really hard to rationalize these things and actually, right, think against it. So it's like, why am I showing up to this person's house? I'm touching all their things. I'm engaging with them romantically. I can't kiss them on the mouth. What's the matter with me? Of course I can kiss them on the mouth. Fuck it. If he has COVID, she has COVID, then I probably have COVID from touching the doorknob. It's really, really hard to just avoid. So I think a lot of people are just willing to risk it because it's like 50-50 chance I get it from you having sex, 50-50 chance I get it from just going to the grocery store and touching an apple or whatever, you know? So it makes it a little more, it's just one of those things where, you want to be safe with STDs and pregnancies. But then it's like, are people caring more about COVID than STDs and pregnancies? You know, it's like, what are on the people's, like, what are people most paranoid about when they're trying to engage sexually with other people that they just don't know? It's very interesting.
So when I did whatever I did, I didn't think any of it, to be honest.
You didn't think about any of it? You're just like, you just want to get fucked?
I didn't because I work in the health field, and I just, if I put what I do for my job into what I do in my personal life, I would go fucking crazy. Like, I see what's happening with the numbers and things of that sort. So I'm just like, okay, I get it. But whomever I do whatever with, I do ask questions.
Screening.
So did you get tested? Have you been around anyone? Have you been out of the country?
Yep.
Have you been out of the, I can't say out of the state because the person, whatever.
Yeah.
But I ask questions and engage based on that. I know one person I was supposed to meet up with, and he said because his employer is older, he doesn't want to meet up because that person is like family to him. And he's
more susceptible.
And this is like his dad. So if he were to meet up with me and I had it, and then he would get it, and then that older person gets it, I get it. So I didn't meet up with him. But I get there's. But
that's respectful, and I like that. I would love to hear, and guys, please DM me on my Instagram if you have more to add to this, and I can always talk about it on another episode. But it's really interesting to see how many people respect that and do the screening questions, which makes you kind of feel like a medical professional, where you're like, hey, have you been exposed to anybody who has had or currently has COVID-19 coronavirus? So it's like, so bringing up one of my other mentions on here is a guy that I know who met his current girlfriend via online dating 2 months ago, I believe he said, a couple of months, or I think 2 months into COVID. I forget what he said. I have to look back. But nonetheless, he met her online. I think it was about a month until they decided to meet in person. But they spent that month getting to know each other, asking these questions, making sure their home situation, their lifestyles, their work, their family, and everything before they met up. Now, they were both out of state. They're in different states. So they ended up meeting up, and of course, being overly cautious and careful and asking those questions again. And so it's really important to have that initial almost protection and respect, and knowing that you both are on the same page, right? Because it's always difficult to have that conversation, even when it comes to STDs. So if I have sex with somebody, like before I have sex with somebody or after, if it's unprotected, like I always have to have that conversation. Like if I get in the heat of the moment and I sleep with somebody and it's unprotected, which usually I'm very good with that, especially, you know, it's usually not random with me, but I try to be very good with that. And after the fact, you want to say, hey, just so you know, I'm on birth control, so I can't, you know, probably won't get pregnant, but I am terrified of STDs. So let me know if you're just, let's talk about it. I'm not going to be offended either way, but you need to fucking let me know, because if I find out later something happens, that's on you, homie. But being able to be open and honest about that initially before you start that contributes to that comfortability. And I think that if you're consistently seeing somebody, then it makes it a little bit better. Not knowing if they're off on Tinder going to see other people, I mean, it's just really impossible to control. But I think that nowadays with the holidays, like right now, like with the holidays, I don't know how many people, numbers are up. I don't know how many people are still terrified almost of going out and doing this, or if they just have had enough of just not being able to. Because what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from people is that most people just want the companionship.
Yes.
And they don't really want to meet up with people. But I think that almost 6 months of going through this, they're going to want to start meeting people, and who knows if COVID's going to go up then. But let's face it, most of us are pussies, right? Most of us don't take the first step in trying to date unless you really, really like someone, unless you're dating for a purpose, and maybe you're not. So a couple of other people told me, so there was Grindr. I mean, I think the others were really just Tinder. A friend of mine did say that most people just want companionship. Most people just want somebody to talk to. They want an online only dating, like just online, like never meet up, but like almost like a catfish thing where like for a year and a half, I've never seen her face, you know, I never met her in person, type of a thing. And just like my friend Nicole, and then it's on to the next one. And then you ghost them and then you delete them or whatever, and then it's fine. Another friend of mine said people just like using the app. They just like it like it's a game. They just like the swiping. They just like the choosing. They like to be in control of who they choose to like or not like. It's a judgmental game, almost.
So with my ex, we became semi-cool afterwards, and he said, so it is like a game. What you have to do is pay for the upgrade and just keep swiping. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
Fuck a paying for an upgrade, really? And just keep swiping?
He said, keep swiping. Your amount of people, it doesn't matter if you like them, don't like them, just keep swiping right, left. Right, to like them. I think it's right. To
like them, it's right? Sure, whatever. I don't know. I'll look it up.
The side where you go where you like them, you swipe that way.
I think it is right. I think it's like swipe right. Like somebody's commented that on one of like my pictures in the past where it's like swipe right.
So then it is bad. So I just kept doing it. Yeah. So I was like, I did it. Until today, I still see people popping up and saying, hey, how you doing? Da-da-da-da. And at that point, you can choose if you want to talk to them or not.
People popping up that popped up before, or just in general?
These are people that I liked 2 months ago or a month ago.
And they probably just weren't paying attention, and then they opened their app and they were probably like, oh shit, she fine. 2 months ago, let's see if she's still into it.
And they liked me.
Yeah.
But I didn't know because I was just keep going.
So until they message you.
Yes, until they message me. At that point, the ball's in my court. I can either talk to them or not talk to them. Most of the time, I didn't talk to them. But yeah,
I think most of the time people just don't talk to people.
And I've met people that literally were saying, I just want to talk to you.
Yeah,
I don't want to meet. And I'm like, what's...
But that's a pen pal.
Is there
penpal.com? Like,
I don't know. I don't want it. I want nothing to do with
it's just
it.
all these
and I told
apps.
them, I just
a different way to
that.
pen pal.
I don't want a pen pal. I don't want a picture exchange. I mean, I do, but I don't. So I was just like, it's weird.
And everybody's different, but I think for the most part, most people right now are just chilling. They just want people to talk to. They want an app to play with. They want to be involved in something other people are involved in. They're used to it. I don't think a lot of people are meeting up.
Oh, I believe it.
I think that a lot of people may have a boyfriend, a husband, or whatever, or somebody that they're consistently with, and they feel comfortable about that. But even so, I know people who have been in like 2-3 year relationships who didn't see each other for 5 months during COVID because it was to the benefit of themselves and their families and whatnot, where they literally just stayed home. And they were like, listen, babe, like, let's have cute little Zoom. It's okay. Let's have cute. Monica almost sneezed. I can always pause it if you sneeze. But yeah, like full blown relationships where they've been together, almost like not living with each other, but in these wonderful relationships. And COVID happened, and they're like, you know what? Your dad's sick. You live with your grandpa, and he's old, and let's just stay home, and let's just have Zoom dates, and let's just try to talk on FaceTime as much as possible. And for a couple of months, let's just really chill. These are people in relationships.
A lot of healthcare workers, they separated themselves from their families.
Yeah. On purpose.
On purpose, because like if they're working in ICU or in the ED or anywhere where the unit had COVID patients, they deliberately left their kids, left their husbands.
Stayed in a hotel or something?
Yeah, because well, where I work, they gave them a hotel. They gave them transportation because like they wanted to, look, you're going into a hectic area. We want to make you as comfortable as possible. So they gave them a hotel room near the hospital. They gave them transportation so they didn't have to drive. They made sure that they had food and whatever be the case.
Is this in New York or New Jersey or
New
where? New York. Was it a big hospital that did this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because not every hospital is that fortunate to be able to offer that. That's the first time that that's the first time that I heard of. I mean, probably not the first time. I know that there's hotels, but that they put them up in hotels, like the doctors, not expecting them to do it themselves.
I spoke to a few doctors, and they were like, "Yeah, my hotel's down the road, and they paid for
especially
my Uber."
The doctors, especially." So. And that was what was so crazy with the exposure. And it's just like, all of these nurses are trying to online date and everything, doctors and everything, but they can't, but they just can't. They really just need to know that they can, but then they literally just don't have the time to and the means. And it's unfortunate that people have to literally stray from their families. So many people have had to stray from their families and their significant others to be able to just put everybody in a safe place. It is extremely crazy. And in trying to research a little bit and talk to people, different people from all over the world that I spoke to about this, the overall thing was that they just want to be on the app. Nobody really is trying to fuck right now. I think that everybody's just getting carpal tunnel from the amount of times that they're masturbating. I know my vibrator's tired. Hey, shit. My vibrator, which is like my favorite gift ever. It was a gift. Everybody gift sex toys. It's the best thing. Like, one of my favorite gifts.
My whole neck and shoulder up the other
day, girl, you told me that the other night. So Monique and I are 30 plus, which obviously means we have to stretch before we do any type of fucking sexual activity. This dumbass.
Bruh.
Tore her whole shoulder, popped what'd you do?
I couldn't turn left.
She couldn't. She pulled her neck.
I'm surprised you didn't.
Fucking stupid.
Let me tell you.
Pulled your whole.
I came so far, I saw stars. Okay,
Monique, you might as well have had a stroke on the left side of your body. How did you even text me after that? Were you texting me with like your one thumb because the rest of your body was numb? But it was it was worth the orgasm, though, right?
Yeah, it was.
You were out of commission for what, 3 to 5 days? So stupid. Worth it.
It was like 3 days.
It's good, girl. It's good. I still made it work.
I did. And then I did it this morning. I was like, oh my God.
We got to get you one of those video gamer chairs to sit in. I don't know, one of those comfortable ergonomic chairs to masturbate in.
What is that going on?
Like, because the position that you're in when you're masturbating, guys can just like stand or like lay down. I have to do my legs have to be up. I have to be kind of like my knees have to be above tit level. I think my left leg needs to be higher than my right in order for my I don't know. Like there's something I have to do for me to be comfortable. But if I'm there long enough, if I'm watching too much porn and getting into the porn and forgetting what I'm doing and time goes by, I get a little crampy. I wake up, I try to get up after and I'm like, ooh, I like a fucking horse. Like I just got off a horse. Waddling back and forth. Oh my God. Yoga before and after masturbation, or you will pull a muscle, guys.
Bruh.
If you're like older than like 27, you should definitely stretch before you do any of this shit.
I definitely have to stretch.
I have to stretch to get out of bed. To get out of bed. I'm not even 33. You for sure will see me stretch before I masturbate next time. End up like you. Fucking embarrassing. I can't believe you did that to yourself. I've never done that. I've been sore and crampy, but you couldn't turn your head left, and that is we need to teach you how to.
but it was worth.
I'm gonna get you a special pillow or something. We gotta Google.
I don't know what the
Guys, DM me on my Instagram if you know of any really good ergonomic chairs. So that
with you.
And I'm sure there's something out there. I'm sure there's like AdamandEve.com has some type of fucking $7,000 like situation that makes it ergonomically. I'm just trying not to have arthritis and
neck issues.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Well, yeah, so that's crazy. All right, so those are all the stories that I have for today. Is there anything else you want to add? I mean, I don't online date, so I don't have shit to add. I had to reach out to other people.
I know with Mr. Big, who I'm talking to now, we spoke for weeks.
Mr. Big.
I can't. We spoke for weeks, and we would video chat for weeks before actually meeting up. I don't know what was his reasoning, because I would ask,
trust. Catfishing? I don't know. Do people catfish?
He saw me.
Oh, you don't know his reason for doing the video?
Like waiting so long to meet.
Oh.
I don't know if it was because of COVID. I don't know.
So you talked to him for a few weeks and then you met up in October? Is that Mr. Big? October?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know. Everybody's different, man.
True.
Did he screen you?
Mm-hmm.
Did he ask you the COVID questions?
Oh, I asked the questions.
You asked the questions and he responded appropriately? He passed? Okay.
Yes.
But was he like worried about, like, was he equally as cautious with trying to make sure that you were on the same page with that type of thing? Or was he just like, oh yeah, ask me all the questions you want? Are you
It was
exposed?
like I asked and then he came back with the same thing.
Got
he
it.
said, no. Mm-hmm.
How many times have you seen him since October? And have you screened him each time? 24 hours before. Check your temperature at the door, bitch. Okay, you good. 96.0. Okay.
I don't know. How many times have I seen him and screened him or just seen him?
No, like how many times have you physically seen him since October? Like it's been 2 months and you physically saw him a handful of times, more than a handful of times?
A handful of times.
And every time that happened, was it like, oh, you screened him in the beginning and then it's just like, oh, like,
yeah, I kind of screened him
in the beginning. And then kind of just like,
and then at that point, I didn't know what was happening in my office. And now he knows what's happening in my office. So I'm kind of cautious about who I am around. But yet, the hours that I work, those people that have it, I'm not around them.
So unfortunately, Monique has one of those jobs where she can work from home, but she's not because they're cunts. So the situation at her job is that they have bullshit plexiglass and everybody in half the fucking place has COVID, but they're not around her. No. They're not around her. No. And that's ridiculous, but very interesting stuff, guys. I do appreciate, thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Terrence. Thank you, a gentleman whose first name begins with an L. I have another one, Larry. I have another one, Hugh. Thank you guys so much for your input. Again, guys, DM me if you have anything to add, any questions. Generally, like just the overall summary here is that online dating has increased 15% at least during COVID. Mm-hmm. The general consensus is most people are not trying to meet up. They're trying to be really safe. Mm-hmm. And just, I think, for lack of better words, like before COVID, people were also doing the same thing. I think a lot of people are just fucking around on the app. Fucking around on the app. Like nobody's taking that shit seriously unless you are. And then that's when these things need to come about. So very interesting stuff, guys. Wow. Well, I'm spent. Remember that movie? And I hope you all enjoyed that as much as we did. For more pleasure, please go follow my Instagram page. We're All Fucked. WearAllFckd. So it's fucked without all the vowels. So that is where you can find me. And a huge thanks again to Mo for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you again to all of our awesomely sexy listeners. We will see you next week when we will discuss my favorite thing ever. What do you think it is?
Oh, really?
Smoking weed and fucking. Smoking weed and fucking. I love having sex while high. Having sex while high. Having sex while high. If you are a stoner and you fuck. If you are a stoner and you fuck, hit me up.
Did I tell you I did it the first time?
You did it. Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. I am a huge stoner. I love smoking weed. I smoke weed all the time, and I love having sex while I'm high, and I want to hear how much you guys love having sex while high. I will keep you anonymous if you choose. You can come on the show if you want and talk about it yourself, but I would love to hear from you guys, whoever enjoy nice cannabis, some cannabis and cock, some weed and and
Whoa.
oh man, so yes, I do want to hear from all of my sex crazed stoners. It has been an absolute pleasure getting fucked with all of you. Until next time, again, this is Sasha.
Mo.
Take care, guys. Have a great night. I shouldn't have said had a great night.